Hey everybody, it's the PopPunkNerd here. I just want to make a quick moment really quick. Just want to let you know this episode had some technical difficulties, and I was able to just salvage as much as possible for this. I do apologize for this episode, but I just want to give a shout out to Canadian Guy. Thank you for him being on part of the show. Hope you guys enjoy this episode as much as possible. Take care, guys. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the... I'm your host, the Pop Oscar. I'm a special guest YouTuber since CanadianGuyEh.
Hi, how's it going? Sensation. You're putting a lot of pressure on me for saying sensation. a little bit pressure. I'll stick with YouTuber for now.
YouTuber, you're Canadian Guy.
Yay! Let's go with that.
Welcome to the show where we usually talk about video games, movies, and related. Today, this YouTuber Canadian Guy. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good.
That's good. Why don't you give the audience who you are?
So, I am Canadian Guy. I am a Canadian YouTuber. I talk about a lot of nostalgic games that happened in the 90s and the early 2000s. You know, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon. Those are my two main big aspects. And I run a show called Triple R, Remade, Rebooted, Retired, where we talk about other games as well and whether or not they should be remade. Because recently there's been a lot of remakes, some good, some not so good. And we talk all about that. And it's a lot of fun to talk about all these things of these games that we had in the past. So, yeah, that's what I do on my channel.
Links down in the description below. So, like, what started this whole, like, YouTube career you wanted to do? Like, when
I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. Always have. I've always wanted to be a YouTuber since high school, and that was over 10. So, and it was, then it was when we really started to see the big YouTubers come up. We started to see Good Mythical Morning really start to arise. This is back when this is when really started to gain and be seen as an source of income and a source of business. And my goal was when I was in high school, I wanted the editor, the director, and the performer. And there's nothing in the industry that allows you to do that other than YouTube. So I started doing videos, and I'd be on for 3 months, off for a year, on for 3 months, off for 2 years, trying different things, trying from game to like music videos and all these things. I tried a whole bunch of different stuff, and none of it really resonated with me at all. And the biggest run before the run I'm now, which is now I was actually used to be a League of Legends player, and I would talk about that, and that lasted for a summer, and it just wasn't resonating with me. It was like it was what I wanted to do, but it wasn't the content that I wanted to cover. So then I graduated school. I got a degree in broadcasting and radio, television, and film, and I worked literally before I even graduated. I got a job at an animation studio as an animation editor, and I loved editing and I loved animation. I did kids shows and stuff, and it was kids shows, but it was a lot of fun. And so I did, and I enjoyed it. And my initial run when I was an employee there, and then what happened, the show got canceled that I was working on, and I got laid off. So I was laid off for about 6 months. And for that, what am I going to do? What did I do? Et cetera, et cetera. And I said, so I kind of sat at first. I had no. And so the last game that I had pre-ordered and fully bought, the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy. So, all right, I'm going to go pick up Crash and I'm going to play it because I'm sad and depressed. So I picked up and I started playing, and there was a flood of memories of Crash, Spyro, Jumping Flash, all of these games from the PlayStation 1 that came flying back to me was, wow, this is amazing. And the reason why I stayed was because I would always play with my brother, who unfortunately passed away years earlier, and I just kind of stopped thinking and playing them because whenever it reminded me of him. But there was enough time that had passed that allowed me to heal, me to be able to not focus on that and just focus on my child base. So I played Insane, I loved it, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to do a review on Crash Insane, just for fun. I did it, and it was, and the moment that something sparked was when I saw First Four Figures had posted about their very first, there was a silhouette Spyro, Like, wow, Spyro, that floods a bunch of memories too. I loved Spyro in the day. I loved it to death. Still do. And I thought, let's do something different. So before I did my insane review, I did another stupid League video, different. And there's this character named Darius who when he goes to execute someone, he jumps stupid high and hits them. And I said, okay, let's do a video on how high. So I did. And it was interesting to do that. It was cool to investigate and do math and stuff to figure out how high he could jump. But the investigation aspect to it. Then I made the Crash review. And then I thought, what if I took that investigation aspect of that video back to Spyro? So I started to do research. More stuff started coming up. And then I made my very, very first YouTube Spyro video, which was Spyro's Return. That was my very first Spyro video. And after I made that, I remember I looked at the views before I went to bed, and it was at 12. And I felt awful. It was like, this isn't going to work. This is not going to work. So I went to bed, and it had 23 views. And I remember looking at it was the most comments I had in a video in a long time. And I was like, it's resonating with people as much as resonating with me. So by the end of that week, it hit 1,000 views. And I hadn't had a video hit 1,000 views in years. So at that point, our universe, I was reached by Mecha Imperfect, or at this point his name was Mechanizer, and a few other friends, and they were on this Spyro, like, hey, we want Spyro to come back as well. And they're like, come to Twitter. I was like, I'm not gonna go to Twitter, not gonna do that. Well, I did. Then finally I went to Twitter, and I didn't realize how many people wanted Spyro to come back. I didn't realize the amount of people that were like dying to have Spyro return. And I was like, okay, I did see. I see why you wanted me to come to Twitter. And so then I made a part 2. And then I started making speculation videos about it. And the channel started to grow. And the channel started to continue to go up and up and up. And it was nice because I was making videos just out of the heart. That was finally it. I finally decided what was the cataclysm. The catalyst to everything was I made videos from the heart. Not something that, this will get views. Or maybe this will get views. It was like loved Spyro, and doing these videos created, no pun intended, my heart. The heart, my heart, and that was crazy. That was absolutely insane. So speculation on Spyro. I then got called back to work. So of course I went back to work, but I didn't stop making videos. I would get up at work, come back for 6 o'clock. Take my dinner, go to my back office, and work on YouTube videos until 3 a.m. And I did that every day. Every day. And to just over 10,000 subscribers. And then I got permanently at around 10,000. And so I was like, what do I do? And my wife said, try YouTube full time. Okay, here we go.
Toss my hat in the ring.
Try. I mean, what, 10,000? Are you serious? So I made the, and it was like maybe 1,000, but around 10,000. And I knew I was going to be okay when my very first paycheck that I got from YouTube full time was almost to the dime the same amount that I would have made at my previous job. Almost to the dime. And I was just like, okay, I can do this. And I haven't looked back since. I've been doing YouTube full time. It's been it's been coming 3 years now. 3 years I've been doing this full time, and I haven't looked back, and I love it. I love it every day.
At this point, like making a living off YouTube?
Absolutely not. No. Well, yes and no. Yes, because I knew I had the fire for it. I knew I did. I have it in my heart to do it. But just be fire for it doesn't mean that you can actually get there. In my mind, I had the fire to do it. To finally do it, because you could have the skill set, you could have and it means bunk. YouTube is just a big algorithm. To my way into and that niche was my growth. It was my way into Spyro. Nobody was Spyro. No, like not many people were talking about. Majority of my fan base were like, yeah, Spyro really came out, and then your channel popped up, and that's why. It was because my channel became akin to Spyro. And
You recommend
I know that, and then fuel crash team racing. I are on, but almost through CTR. Reason why is because they had the initial depth for CTU's Temple of.
Yeah, you go to a little kiosk shop or somewhere. And
Yeah.
You go, I
went to PAX in Boston, and I had a relationship with them, and they set up an appointment for me. So what I did was I played CTR. That's all I played this for when I record. When I sat down, all the other journalists did not. It was Jordan Frame 5. I'm counting correctly, versus the AI. I had been practicing, and then on my rate relatively well. First on the one, almost first on another. I think I got on the third one, and then I got like fourth or Electron Avenue because I never played. I played those levels. I on YouTube, and they were one of the few levels in the game, or a few gameplays in the game that actually had someone power slide using the mechanic of CTR. And for referring to my video, like when people say, "Okay, we're going to look at game," and they always use my game because I was the only one, and send off all those videos in terms of views. It was like 1,000 gaining at that point, and that was the channel really took with CTR.
In fact, like the first game I ever got, and I played Nitro Field growing up. Remake, I was able to do like that boost. I've been beating Ox Circle at like 5 years old, beating that game with a drift.
That's hard.
But I did it. And a Nitro card.
That's pretty awesome.
Like, wait, I think it was. I'm like, wait, there's a drift.
You can do that?
Wait, you tell me like bust my time when I just happened to get doing the drift.
That's hard, but I mean, kudos to you because you do that.
I was like,
that's.
Yeah, it was like watching some of your videos also. I'm like, oh, I gotta practice that. I would even go to the kiosk and practice that while playing it.
Oh man. CTR was the days. I was playing CTR.
I'm currently Twitch right now because I'm starting. I'll be honest, the ones I ended up getting actually because it's like Slock.
Yeah, if you're not there day one.
Like, I got servers now, and it's like find a match. Like I do, it's like because he has the game on his Switch. Our lobby suggestion, we just. That's the only way to do it, other than just my transactions. I think I'm like, all that's left for me in colors, and that's about it.
Yeah, everything I'm up for my PlayStation.
Kudos for you, like you like grind to like unlock everything.
Oh yeah, I mean 12-hour streams, right? I did 12 first day and blitzed that as much as possible. So much fun.
Oh yeah, tell me my Switch to work because I used to work the live. And everyone there is just to sit there build. I'm just at that point.
Yeah.
I'll be bored. Get bored about that. I literally started that's where I started like drifting and like trying to unlock OP.
Yeah, that's fun. I didn't get a chance to do the developer times. I didn't all of them. I did some, but not all, unfortunately. I was able to do what was fun to do. Some of those dev times are rough, man.
Oh yeah,
those are rough. William P.
I'm surprised the Grand Prix back. I think that's the only thing that's missing.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, like, do you see yourself like, having a full future now with youth and all, or you feel like you could more past that?
So I do. Creation is my I about my plan and what I want to do. There's a lot of I have, but I know it has to be around content creation. It's permanently early. Definitely I do want to stick with YouTube, obviously, if it's going to be the main source of media. I mean, YouTube could go space, or YouTube could go the way another tech giant can step in. I know. But in terms at this point in time, I don't see myself going back to a regular 9 to 5. I see myself doing this life of multiple channels, perhaps having a team. That's kind of like my next step, actually being able to income to be able to have a team of people so that I can focus on doing ideas as well. Essentially, the problem is that all these ideas, but don't have the manpower because the awesome about being a YouTuber is you're the director, actor, and you're the editor.
You're in control.
The terrible thing about YouTube, I'm in complete control. The terrible YouTube is that I'm the writer, I'm the actor, I'm the editor. Terrible thing as well because I have 4 jobs I have to do all those jobs. It's like, okay, I type a script set, and then I'm able to send video off to an editor or team of people that say, hey, I found it. Why don't you investigate that? And I investigate it. And like, oh, that's cool. Type it up and send it off, right? It's not like that. It's different, right? And In the future, though, Canadian Guy will be alive, having Canadian Guys, which is the Let's Play channel. Ultimately, I want to build a team of able to create this big network, but having the network that isn't terrible. Because a lot of networks that just take your, that's it. That's all they take, right, and they do nothing. My point of view is what a network that allows a content creator keep all of their money with donations, ad revenue, but the success of this would be in my mind, I think, so like the network gets you and then the sponsorship lit, but the donations that you receive is 100%. The whole point of the net, we get the sponsorship, we reach out to you, and sponsorship, here's the cut. And if you're like, no, a portion cut, or maybe average for packs, let's say. And there are people that can go, but they can't afford. The network would pay, would pay for the, but they have to content for the network, and they can do whatever they want for themselves. If they want to go and interview people panel, they make 100% of them that. That's like, hey, you're paid to go to the convention. We want an interview with this person. After that, yours. And what that does is that it gives the creator an opportunity to be able to create content. That's the important thing of content, because not everybody go to PAX. Not everybody at these interviews can do that, and build a network that is something that actually helps creators grow. And actually that would be likely the like 10, 20 years in the future. That would be the end game. And Canadian Guy for my absolutely, but game in terms of a career is a network of content. It's everybody, and they don't want to be a part of the network. That's fine. It's be like, okay, that's it. Bye. Right. It would be a case-by-case basis. You wouldn't be obligated to have to constantly work for the channel. And that would be my end game, is to create a network that people feel like that they can grow. A network that's together, and something that will benefit all, because YouTube creators enough as it is. Samsung creators as enough as it, and these other channel networks want creators as it is. Everyone wants each other's money. The point of the network is not to make some amount of money, be able to help creators grow, right? And they grow later on when you want to put them. It's in better business. So the idea is that's I might in the future, but that might change. The idea might fail. I don't know. In my mind, I'm going back to an office desk 9 to 5. I see myself staying in YouTube, whether that camera, whether the case may be, YouTube is where I think I need to.
Yeah, like you would like hire people to help. I mean, it's like you actually like help you out videos. Like, seems like you had videos that even when you weren't around to take cover of like any updates.
Absolutely.
You already got like that foot in the door where you're able to feel you're comfortable to act people like that.
We're starting like Shemp hasn't been recently because he's got his own live. Just Shooter has for some of my one video a week out of that per week. The rest are usually edited by me from the start of the videos. If there's nothing, it's me, and edited by whomever. So it helps. It's ridiculous. It helps me. And I've been trying to get more of a team. I have thumbnail artists where you search thumbnails. I'm starting to know, and what I'm trying to build this team, and that's the whole point. And also, just the artist point would be to kind of the Mecca and Proper such. I mean, need people to do certain awesome, and I want to push multi.
Obviously, you want something like you have other people, because you ain't in life, you have family. Like you want something like balanced out where you have.
That's the point. The reason I started YouTube is right. I wake up in the morning and I bye to my kids. They go in my office. If my son downstairs to show me his favorite, show me, and I can play with him before I get back to work. Lunches, hanging out with my kids. Right? They know they're skipping away. I'm here. Right? If my wife is, I can help. I can help. Right? I'm still work, but I'm here, and that's something that's very to be able to be family. The occasional to leave. The kids and the wife, and I come back, the kids are like, whoa! And I like to see that, I love my kids, anything for them, and that's part I do that.
I'm just gonna like when you stream and you're cutest thing, like when you have to pretend to play the games, it's freaking amazing. That's like dad goals.
Crash 4 lap, it's not easy,
especially when it's Crash
4.
Crash 4. So we got Crash 4 for Xbox One, see on Battle. Obviously, these are like improvements and all. Me and Josh Rockstar did a review about the game in general. Well, we're gonna review it in a way. You guys haven't seen that, but we're gonna you playing obviously the version in the PS5.
played every PS5, the Switch, PC, single versions.
Single version, like for me personally, got version, and so that's how much I have
Yeah.
compared. But ports like and at this point.
So at this point in time, Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 those ports are good. The PlayStation I prefer a little bit, just for some reason a little, but the PlayStation 5 version is the vault. I love the PlayStation, especially because your save over. That's something because 100% core is not an easy task, and I love the feel of the PlayStation as well. That's pretty good. It's not like you can tell it's kind of thrown like that. So it runs really, really. The actual I play it downstairs when I'm watching the game to play Crash, and they hilarious, and I'll play on the this interesting one. It is a Switch because they're freaking out because they said 1080 720p undone, and it's neglected them targeted CP and targeted. So what happens is it's dynamic. So as it gets more intense, the resolution, so that
I was noticing that from my view when I'm playing. Like, this doesn't feel 1080.
It's like, because it gets busy and
like obviously they're rendered and
yeah.
It's not like, especially a giant 4K, to notice it like heartbeat.
Yeah.
There is a few. When it comes to the Switch, don't get me wrong, it's a great place for Bob does. Obviously, but I feel like when it comes to like Switch, like S tier.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it rates really well on the Switch. I enjoy it. The one that for me, the one for when I even made a video about the PC version. Hit me. So, and some people are commenting they were redundant, and I'm like, that's the point.
Yeah.
That point. So the always seen as like the creme de la creme. You can better than the PC version race, and that was the same trilogy and real Jimmy. Real amazing. It's just so love it to death, and I was so excited because I see PC. This is gonna. I got it. I hit play, and it wasn't bad. But it blew my expectation, and I'm Insanity, or not. I always call it the island. It's Rude Awakening. Rude Awakening, when scene where Crash Insanity Peak puts his and then those trees spin him and he freaks. Right? They just removed a tree.
Okay, like I would have done something like that on that's the tree.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, well, who cares about the? Yeah, who cares about the tree? But what? Why?
Obviously, it's not a. What was the?
Well, a developer there and said, get rid of it. Why? Where my confusion was, right? But of course, the PC versions, and then people are saying, "I'll play my game in wide hertz." I'm like, first off, ultra wide 140. The average consumer is not. So I play the game on a hertz monitor, decent card, a decent processor, like pretty good. I even showed my processor, my graphics up to like 160. But it up so that monitor, right? So people even have 60, have a 30, some people have a 50. Sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, of course, 44 hertz, sure, but he's going to be able to see the game in games. And then some people said it could be if you mod, average consumer is going to mod the game off of it, build, determining how good the game is, jam packing it full. Not going to happen. That would be unfair to PlayStation 5, Xbox, and so the version was weird. Still play it. I'm still using it. My PS5, when I go to stream version.
Yeah, but to go to Switch lately because I'm over home to like sit down and put station. So lately I've been playing. So it's a Switch version. Small issues, but they're not like kind of perfect port. It's not include like the PS4 version. Examples is like the Activision load intro. It's like the frame is load down and it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why is it?
We were seeing that, and I was just like,
perfectly with a spot.
That one was weird. That was
next one was another thing I noticed on the Switch version. So I mean, I didn't have any, especially. And one issue I was kind of like question mark stuff. The flashback tape, it's super blurry. Filter.
Yeah, it's
especially like a T. And like you could barely step and stuff.
Yeah. I was seeing some of the inverted specifically. I think the one that was really Egapis Dimension, the archaic, where it's all white and it's like archaic. I saw Switch and that one that was rough. That game struggles is but other than that, the game itself is it it is.
Like if someone has like, I would say you don't need to get it on anything like that.
Absolutely.
Like I said, shout out like doing a great ports. I think I would get moved on is the Spyro, but that's about it.
I mean, the Toys for Bob comes to Switch port.
Yeah. Overall, I saw there was enough. I think out and the hub world.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, that was like randomly like she did.
They did a lighting support.
Quick. Where's the play? The same logo. Yeah, the individual boss.
I think that kind of that my was I learned the side character was that the side levels that more interaction. Like I said across, I wish that we had more interaction between the that we did get. The cutscene where at first time it's hard. If Cortex is the interaction between the two good, we could have seen more persons. I wish that we could more interactions. Would have been really. I do love that each of the should have gotten their own way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny if like I think it would be really funny if some of them were like different. An idea for Crash Bandicoot I mentioned was imagine if the deal Iltana mentioned how she's all like pinned like a pin up
kind of girl.
But what would is that so you have the the Iltana you have now, you have her, but then she's with because in the mod she goes with Pinstripe. So the stripe, but then you towards the actual one, she actually has like her
I'd actually be pretty interested to see that.
Dingo Dial dealing with young Dingo and Flamethrower and stuff. Interactions between present Cortex and Pat. How, all right, it is hysterical. So what if like the old Dingo Dial interacts with Dingo Flamethrower?
We're Sonic Generation for
kinda, yeah, buddy. I think that throwbacks to some of the other that they have because multi-dimensions. Now you can just go at it. Like you could literally, if you want Crash Bandicoot 5, opening up, him getting angry and opening and turning around and noticing the world, the dragons, and he's like, whatever. It's like an Easter egg. Like, look, yes, like that. You like with it. Go nuts. Spyro 4 and how mentioned the portals open. It'd be funny. Like, remember when the for a week, like he's so
like he's finished the Crash there. He's happy, but he's like a stitch or something.
Quick look, see. Remember when the masks fix everything back out?
You're in the wrong game.
Yeah, exactly. And, like humorous bit fun.
So like a few months back now, obviously we were gonna con. Did like the timeline thing where 100% Crash 4 if you fix.
Actually, you know what the funny is that I have a video working on for a long time until Crash 4. Remember I had it. Talk about what happened. I'll give the timeline many times. Crash's fault. Do you want to know why? And Crash Bandicoot time pistol 3 warped split.
Oh, now
in fact, why Crash created them.
That makes total sense.
They freak out when it's entropy because the time twist is delicate and who happened that they create. But isn't that
it is Crash? He's not even like he's like he's just like, oh, I did that. Back to
what we saw in Crash because his own problem, right? At the end of Crash,
right, he breaks the thing all up.
Caused it. So it's about that's evidence to say that even time and cause changes. That's my theory.
The words of Coco
does explain a lot.
We're at this we're like long that with this series for and on a hiatus years. We get comics. We finally get. Now it's next.
So there's a lot with Crash Bandicoot.
I have like a list of a few things. Like what seen from your videos? Either there or saying that's some point this.
So coming by from information and from my personal theory, and from adding everything together, sounds like is that Bob was working and for some reason shelved. Another team picked it up with some BB. The Lee Robertson, he had a lot, and it doesn't make sense as to what the information because information saying, but if one studio and was shifted over for whatever it makes sense. He was coming, I think, the Beanox from on something else. The 25th anniversary that might be released because the 25th hits in right. So I think that might get something in there. I have no idea. There's evidence to say yes. A lot of evidence. Yeah. We're not seeing it yet.
Like,
so where is it?
Especially when you multiplayer craft. So like I see it still last minute, and it just, there was pride out for that.
Yeah, I think that's something. It feels like something there, but then it's something that's happened. That always happens. I don't know. I wish I was, but I on the wall to figure out what's going on. It could be a try, and it just was. It would have been simple. That they tried. They tested. It wasn't fun. This doesn't work. Maybe a Crash game isn't a thing. Maybe didn't know how to handle it. And they've never dealt with it, and they had it ready. And because they do know how to, they've dealt with Call. They did CTR. So maybe they took what they did. Idea, but it could be anything. Beanox is handling it in a game anymore. Be something else entirely. Something like Fall Guy could end up being like could be. I have no clue. I don't know what Beanox is doing. That there's something going. That something is, but doing it right now. So.
Yeah, okay, we like recently came out, and that's pretty. Like get a spin-off under a CTR or real party type or like one thing mentioned. Like I was waiting for you to like talk to you for this, like not like something like the GBA game, 0.5 being Crash games, something country tropical. Like spin-off, variants, solo buddy games, but it's like can you something like
thing along of like spin-off game in that you haven't been able to have success in the game unless you do something more along like and like the trade-off of the so like in mind like that I think like has paid Flint on of didn't work on in-off game though mentioned feel like triple for that so I don't know.
I want to like talk very much
Right.
but only more side was like and tail crash.
That was so actually do that where parties where we get, I don't know
like do we go game, do we get a game,
everything you know, a lot of Coco game analytically I don't that yes it doesn't have quite like more right because it can do anything Mario King people would buy it because it does great presents how long to be able that would it I think that it did something like I said it did Mario Party I don't think they go but I do think that they do stuff like
the same CT
Mario Party and maybe your outdoors just like you
I recall we watched your like a potential Spyro, but it were different things. And I did have this like if it doesn't annoy them with a bit more. We get how beat 'em up game. I Marvel Ultimate where you can crash, crunch, 100 when you actually do it like Mario.
That my point of view on these things. I'm down for fun. So if it has an idea and they feel like hey, I know it work. I love this. Then like let's go. You know, that's if it's fun. That's the big thing.
People will enjoy it.
That's it. You can say and be like, you could sit down with this master video or it's not fun.
Right.
But they're like that wouldn't be fun and like why is this fun? I can't stop thinking about that. I'm always in that if it's not where it's fun, play it. Right. So no matter what it is, you know, like I said, I could talk a bunch of us where it's like this will work. I promise it'll work. We don't know until up to right. So and that could have been a case for would have been a fun so people and right.
Right.
And I'm with the idea of because of that. I would rather hunger for than get Crash Game now. Right. I would rather Crash Game. That's just kind of fresh. Right. So that's but look at that. When I look at press release, it talks about stuff happening through the can't help but over, think but Crash Beams absolutely very
on top
on the just would be perfect. It would be there's the Crash and Smash
especially during the
it doesn't such an awesome way able to drive sales Crash Bandicoot there. I mean you have Sonic. I mean, come on, the ultimate fighting game. There's so many. Like I've imagined trailers for.
Yeah,
Crash.
I would wait especially. I would love to go. I will say that for a little bit. Yeah, sure. Like what apparently your plan the years planned out after it was Crash on Xbox and other consoles. So and then we CTR and then like at the last one. I'm not some at all. Yeah, and it's like I feel like as soon as
the 5 years by the magazine and GB reported Division had a 5 and because of the success of the same trilogy. So that's where then people this rumor started the Smash well. Now, I do have the screen videos about the G plan. Now that was back in Insane King, and then they had 2018, 2021, and then so the Crash Con or something will plan all the way up more 2021 far. I believe this leak to be right.
Yeah,
like every single Smash release. There's this.
There's only been like back to right. One Bogard like it was 3 Castlevania only at the
yeah. I remember seeing that one.
We're announced it, but they already had the game on the website.
Right.
Anything about Terry? Okay, like someone's going to get an SN character, but it was the same thing. The hero leaked the script presentation. I think 4 figures in that Banjo's like
so one of the industry all the time, but now heating everyone started freaking stuff about the Smash. I hope you're all go. So the company that developed Go. Right, the fire of Banjo-Kazooie, and seeing the Jeep so hype. But I thought for creating the Smash for the trailer is that they bring back where you see him, he's like in his like Malibu, there's some juice, and like drops off some mail, and throwing it a Smash. He's like, wow, gameplay, like that, hilarious. So, idea of that, it was before, and then something added slapped on it for.
Yeah, like that because Joe was really just like that. To get that, crap. It was Crash everywhere. Oh, Crash is like going to that right now. But yeah, it's making it. The looks we really had characters. It was okay. So and we're like, I personally my part I'm not I'd never see 7 ever. I have to down.
Okay,
but
I mean, but for me, when it's on, funny thing.
All right. Hey everybody, just had a couple of technical difficulties. We kind of realized half of the podcast wasn't being recorded. I apologize for that. Great? And I apologize for technical difficulties.
Don't worry about it. Hopefully. But,
yeah, as we were discussing, we're going to talk about most of the stuff we were going to talk about. We're going to continue on. We were talking about Spyro.
Yes. So
Leaks and such.
yeah. So the thing was that with what we've been seeing, Insomniac posted that image, and they posted about Spyro before, but there's something weird, and there is something weird going on, and it's not even Insomniac itself, but it's the merch store We Love This. Now, We Love This is a merch store that announced that they were creating Crash merch, which is awesome. They look awesome. And that in the future, they're actually coming out with Spyro merch as well. If you go to the Insomniac page, they like it, they retweet it, but they start poking fun. They start having fun, and people start talking about Spyro 4. If you go and look at their page and all their likes, they're just liking nothing but stuff about Spyro 4. It's just Spyro 4, Spyro 4, Spyro 4, Spyro 4. And I'm just like, what are you planning? Like, what are you doing? Like, they're not saying anything. They're just liking. And it's very like, on the nose. Like, they're not saying anything and they're not doing anything. But it's like, Spyro 4, maybe? I know a lot of people have been talking about this Insomniac, where there was 3 numbers. There was a 5, a 7, and a 10. Some people with January, February, March, April 7th. That's what some people were going to July. Like, there's been like a whole bunch of different dates being thrown around, and the reason why people are talking, the reason why is because if you look at if you look at what Insomniac had tweeted before, they tweeted, "What's your favorite Ratchet and Clank armor set?" And then a few weeks later, or a few days later, they released the fact that was a certain armor set coming in. And then before that, they asked, "What was your favorite Ratchet and Clank game?" And then a few days later, they Rift Apart. So, what's your favorite Ratchet and Clank game? Rift Apart. What's your favorite? Then they announced the armor set. Asked, "What's your favorite Spyro game?" So that there's going to be a Spyro announcement soon. But of course, they don't own the rights anymore. But it is known that Beanox and Studios, they actually developers and talk. Toys does have a hint to pop that. So everyone needs to throw theirs up as soon as we hit May. Throw your radars up. May or June, May, July. I don't hear anything in May, June, or July. I might be getting Spyro coming in 2022. Okay. But May is, if you notice, as they to announce in May, and then release, I would predict October, November, September at the.
Yeah, you definitely want it like announced around where it's intertwining with like the Crash Anniversary stuff.
Exactly, because September is when the Crash Anniversary stuff is happening. Now, there was something that I had talked about on stream, and so far it's been working. And so, if what people are saying is right, then everything is. Here's the thing: Activision doesn't like the limelight too long. They want to make sure constantly that you know the content that's coming. So here's the if you look at Spyro Reignited gets announced, right? It comes out. They go for an advertising of about 6 to 7 months, right? That's about advertising length. Activision doesn't like advertising a game a year or two in advance. It's very much like, we announce it's coming out in 4 to 5 to 6 months. So when Spyro was announced, right? It was announced in April. So April, May, June, July, in September. Mm-hmm. Those delays. So September, October, November. So, but then 1 month later, CTR was in December, right? So if come out at its initial point in time was September, it would have been November, then CTR comes out. Okay. So CTR is advertised and done. And then all of a sudden, we get Grand Prix. So the Grand Prix are going, and the Grand Prix end in then March. So then the end of February. So you finish February, April, June, 3 to 4 months later, Crash 4 is announced. Right. So what's happening is that between when it was released, short break, it's about 2 to 3 months, about in between, and then they announce, they advertise for 4 to 5 months, then it goes quiet, and then 3 months later, boom, anything else. They release them in March. So March, April, May, June, the 3 months there. You are hitting it when the ports came out. June, I think, would be the time. Don't hear anything May, June, July. I think that Spyro to 2022 because of the fact that the 25th anniversary would be for Crash this year. I think.
And yeah, I was gonna ask you this before. Like, I'm still gonna continue with Spyro, but it was also like involving Crash 4. It could also impact Spyro 4, but obviously we're still in the pandemic and stuff. Do you think these have impacted those games where, like for example, like Crash 4, rumored council, you think that the pandemic kind of impacted that development of that?
I also think that Crash 4 was pushed back in my own personal point of view. I think only because it was weird. If you think about it, Tony Hawk came out in September, then a month Call of Duty and Crash on the cusp of a brand new console generation.
Right. And not even like a full year, like not even like 5 months we get like those games.
So I'm thinking is that there was a cluster. It really didn't make sense. Why would you release Crash literally weeks before a brand new console generation come out? It was very, very, very release date, October. Especially right with Call of Duty and especially right with Hawk. I don't know why, but I don't know why it did. I do think part of that has with the fact that just maybe it was delayed internally, and that delay internally was likely caused by COVID. So could this affect Spyro? Could this affect Wumpily? Could it affect everything? The answer is yeah, probably. It's been affecting everybody. I mean, how many delays have we seen on Twitter? How many of those announcements did we get? Like, oh, game's been delayed, game's been. It's
like, for example, yeah,
it's par for the course.
Like, I totally forgot Far Cry 6 was supposed to come out back in January, but game got pushed back to an official date at this point.
Yeah, that got pushed back. Look at, I can almost promise you, if I was a gambling man, but if I was a gambling man, I would say that God of War Ragnarok is not coming this year.
No.
There's no way. There is no way it's coming out this year.
I say Horizon Forbidden West comes out first before God of War.
Absolutely.
There's no way they're going to release two AAA titles close to each other the same year.
Yeah, no. We're going to get Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West, and then God of War, probably 20, probably end of, right? Even argue maybe even 20. And I'm okay.
I can see that. Earliest 2023, late fall. But
yeah, I don't see it 2021. I don't see it. I want to be shocked. Shock me, please. Amaze me, PlayStation, Sony, Santa Monica. But I don't see God of War. It does just become par for the course. So I think Crash 4 was. Of course, that's me speaking. That's just mocking. I'm thinking and stuff. That's what I think.
And Spyro 4. Do you see it did come out? Do you see it coming out? So obviously for PS5 and Xbox Series.
Yeah.
Do you also see a PS4, Xbox, and a Switch version and a PC?
We're gonna do that big of a release on one day. But they might too, though. They might Give me a second to think about this, because Crash's sales skyrocketed when the Switch version was released. Skyrocketed. And that it happened with and Crash 4. Both of them skyrocketed in sales. So it marked for Activision to release the base versions and with Switch version as well. Do I think it's going to come to PS4 and Xbox Series? Xbox One? Probably. Possibly. I do think that's possible.
Do you see it going
yes.
like the Crash 4 route, where there's no physical release, but if you have the PS4 and Xbox version of those games later?
Not. I hope that there is a physical release. I want to have a physical Spyro. I'm not complaining and scream if I don't. But I want a physical version.
I'm just doing like okay, there are PS4, PS5 versions.
Well, you have a solid copy for my PS5. Yes, the PlayStation 4 and I don't know if they will or not. They might sell more copies, same token of time. What they might do is that they might make the PS4 and the Xbox Series, the Xbox One version, digital and then physical
I
for
can
the next
see
gen.
that. I can see that.
They might do that, where they might do physical preview or digital pre and then next gen physical. Do that. I'm not sure, to be honest. I hope to see Spyro 4, and I hope that it does really well, and I do see it physically in almost, because everybody should be able to play. Everybody should be able to play it.
And
especially with how hard it is to get the consoles now, everyone should be able to play.
Like, can you like, in the long run, so we're gonna like move on Xbox One, it's gonna be PS5 and do you see the games with the Switch, or is the Switch still get like a year wait and stuff? Because now you're comparing, like, before you were comparing an Xbox One graphics to, now you're comparing entire graphical, like, now it's like,
absolutely.
do you feel like it's on the Switch with those kind of games? If we get like a Switch Pro with the rumors,
I think there's going to be a Switch Pro in the future. There has to be a Switch Pro, because with the hardware that's on the Switch right now, the hardware that's on this, I really do think that we need a Pro. We need a Switch, an upgraded Switch, because otherwise it's not going to be able to keep up. It's not going to be up with next gen, and it's starting to not now. At the start, if you want to go see something really interesting, go look at the graphics for Killzone. I think it's Shadow something. That was one of the first on the PlayStation 4. Now got to God of War. Right? God of War graphics are better. Right? Developers got used to developing them. Meanwhile, Killzone, the whatever was developed so longer that it's in the graphics get, because that is spirit, an actual Pixar.
I smell that.
Absolutely. And keep up with that. Then keep up. Even come close. It can't at 4 frames. It won't. Switch is mighty.
Like they want to dock, but I feel like that's not so. That's just the dock.
So what they basically are doing is they're using by NVIDIA. I think it's NVIDIA D or DS super sampling. Someone will probably correct me. I can't remember what it is, but basically the AI system up-res footage 1080p using AI. Now, the rumor is it would have built in, so that it runs 1080p, but then when you dock it, it can actually run through that dynamic up-res through the dock to 4K. I don't know how true that is. I don't know if that's even correct. I'm just saying heard. And that would be something that apps to be able to do that, but that is going to jack up the of the Switch already.
100 over here in the US.
It's really expensive. I'm having a hard time seeing, but I mean, they do need a Switch Pro and third-party games able to, because that's what's really making them big, is these third parties are huge. They need those third parties a lot, and they need to be able to see a more powerful Switch. I do think that we're gonna.
And do you think after the Switch version of Crash 4, do you think dollar deduction?
Yeah, I think so. I think that because Activision has shockingly recently, for a lot of people, a lot more consumer, especially in comparison. Companies are running the upgrade.
Yeah.
Activision's actively being cheap, free. I don't know why it's $10. I don't know why.
$10, but if you had to, it was free port.
So I mean, it's weird. It's not terrible.
I mean, then Crash 4 got expecting the full 60. I was like, oh, it's 40. Like,
yeah,
and that's where I'm like recommending people. I'm like, Switch over PS4 cheaper. PS4 version for I've seen it go half.
I got a feeling that Activision may be going the 40 tag in the future. I think that that's what they're going to be with, because I mean, if you look at Reignited, if you look with the $40 price and overwhelming, not saying that overwhelming success, but you could chance by them release and the PC port at $40. They're thinking that it might be better value for the release at the $40 mark, and I think that according to that.
Oh yeah, it's doing so well.
Yeah,
like. Really feels like those games feel. Speaking here, the trailer, it's called like iconic familiar, and they were promoting a Mario. We got Donkey Kong and Link, and then Spyro. We got. Yes. I feel like Sonic has like been Nintendo for the years, so that at this point I consider Nintendo character. But seeing Spyro, I was just like, wait, what?
Yeah, I've seen that too. That's a big deal. That is, some people, that's not a big deal. It is a deal because Nintendo is now acknowledging as on par of the platformers of their platformer Spyro. And the reason I was driven by sales. Sales always the reason for everything. Money. Yeah, exactly. That's all people want. If something is doing very well on the, they're going to continue to promote that, continue to grow. And if they're Crash and they're promoting Spyro, I mean, at one point I couldn't find Crash on the Crash Insane literally anywhere on the Switch. Sold out everywhere.
Over here, like the only place like here in the UK, GameStop, what's like a whole other story.
Yeah.
Target, Walmart are more likely to find a Crash CTR even on the Switch. And there's like a section Crash like on the top row with Odyssey and CTR and came out. I could like to go buy a physical copy. No Walmart. They all wow. I bought my shop just to have a safe pre-order. I would say Crash like on Switch. Like it showed you where it was at. Like because Walmart are want to like 10 when it comes out, especially when Nintendo. You're pretty much getting $30.
Exactly.
I'm just surprised. Like wow.
And I'm really happy about that too. I got my copy here.
Yeah, I got my copies and like the one I bring up. I hear.
The controller?
The controllers. It's like I have more. Any other game a Switch license thing? Not even Sonic.
Yeah. So what? All I'm thinking is that they have made a mistake in releasing it or $70 and $60 in the States, and then not with this. They might be like, okay, we need to make sure the next game that's Crashers for $40 and Switch. And I think that would be the way to be hotcakes like all the time. You know, the thing is that it's $40, right? So $40, it's Spyro, I'll buy. Or hey, it's $40 Crash, and that's why it just sells so much more. And I think that is something that is going to be a future thing. They go with the $60 price tag for Switch day one.
Yeah, I always had this thought. I noticed like maybe one of the reasons they released it on the rest of the consoles because moneymaker right now is this compared to any other like the casual consumer who owns or plays on the Switch, especially with the pandemic, just bought Switches.
Yeah,
people have games to play, and
exactly. And the big thing too is there's normally if they have another console Switch.
Yeah, it's usually so. It's like, hey, so do we want to sell it day and day with the rest of the consoles, or should we let some people? Because usually people has their secondary console. Yeah, like unless you're a consumer, your Switch console. But a majority of like gamers like, hey, Switch is licensed to us, and so those people first, like. Sell this game day one and they will stand for on the Switch, see if it makes a little more money.
Maybe.
I mean, either way, it's a good move either way if you were to release it, because like what sold day and day.
Yeah, right. And that CTR sold, and they might be, they're experimenting. They might be experimenting what it is, and then they're going to take a look at the sales. And okay, how we going from what we learned, how we going to establish this for the next Crash, next Spyro, or whatever. So. I think that I think I think they know Overvision. They know what they're doing and what's going on. Yeah.
I even like at the eShop it shows like sellers and Crash has been at least in the top 10 lately, and I'm like, wow.
Absolutely. And I don't it didn't release yet in the UK, still like number 10.
Yeah. Europe and copies.
Yeah, not yet.
And stuff. Like going back to like Nintendo Reckon, even when they announced Insane Trilogy back in the Switch, Game Guy Con Crash.
No, it's crazy.
And I
see that.
I want to I want to continue the rest of this, but like also like Nintendo tweeting the Crash.
Yeah, that's significant. That is huge to see Nintendo recognizing Crash as like that incredible to see.
Yeah, and I was just on that like I'm like okay, Nintendo like is aware of Nintendo knows what's obviously that was like
exactly.
And like I noticed a lot of people did, but like on the Crash YouTube channel, they did the Switch versus trailer.
I didn't recognize that.
As soon as they like the game like PS5, like if you go on the Crash Bandicoot YouTube channel, it's a trailer for a Japanese Switch. I just for trailer Japanese. It was only for, and I was like,
I do know that Crash Bandicoot is huge, so I think that was a move to be like, hey, let's put Switch trailer out because they feel like India people are going to be playing on Switch. So that was probably the demographics. It was like, okay, we got a lot of people playing in Japan, interest in Japan. Let's do a Japanese thing for the main channel.
Like they do have that PlayStation.
100%. That's what I agree. I acknowledging Crash recently, 5th anniversary and everything. That should be to acknowledge. Like the amount that has been absolutely crazy. I hope that is.
Like the two characters and possibility.
I hope so. It's going to be an E3, and I think that it would be really. Spyro was announced also in E3, and it would just be like ever.
I can see them doing last 3 they did. They announced Zero and Banjo. Banjo with that. Like the 5th. Okay, I'm cool with it. Character, it's Crash State, and it's 3.
That would be awesome.
So perfect, I'm telling you.
If that two lines up,
Nintendo, please do something.
Sakurai, Daddy Sakurai, please.
Daddy Sakurai, please. Anything for you. Oh my god. It's like about this, but guys, if you're gonna play the Switch version, you can literally Crash, Vortex, Donkey Kong for the same game. How about that?
I love Skylanders.
Yeah, I remember. I do remember seeing Dan Bowser in Skylanders, and it was such a wow. And then included Cortex and back, man. That's a surreal.
Just telling you, it's playing the Crash as Donkey Kong.
I don't think about that.
Like this, like if I would love to see a Crash.
That would really be interesting to see.
I had this when CTR was out. I would love to see also get its own like PlayStation. We get Ratchet, Banjo-Kazooie, and like I want to say Martin for the Switch version with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong.
Yeah, and skins like a plumber boy out. Plumber boy.
Really red tie.
Oh, that would be grand.
I would love that. Like, do you think would like get that was made Crash 4? Do we get?
They better be. CTR that won them a game of the year was the highest Metacritic score asters. Not do another CTR 2 with the new character design with what they added before. And I had this idea what that Aku was the invincibility. What I thought, well, and on the stream. So grand speeds, right? There's balance, turning, excess speed, and drift. But depending on the type that you choose as your mask. So balance is Aku, Uka, Uka. Turn is turning, fully. Accelerate would be Kapuno, Ika, and Akano. And we'll get so you choose speed engine, and then you can ask what would activate it. You would hear the boomerga. But what would happen, instead of just having the ability to be able to just like drive, you'd be able to your hitbox would increase, and you would see the thing.
Drive right back.
You'd hit with Kapunoa. If she you slow down, touches you slow down in time. If
I keep forgetting it was
Kapunoa.
For some reason, slow down time, but I don't Nitro Kart.
Right. When you activate it and you hit the person down, so you're racing.
That would be.
They get then slow down.
The online.
Absolutely, but it would be fun. And then and I to the person I was like, listen, Lonnie was turning because he's in a mess. Loli would go slow as possible. Kapunoa can go down time, so the inspiration drifting through, and then speed was to be like, Akano, what are you more than fat? Speed. Akano, you need brakes. Like you could literally arguing with himself, like flipping, and then you could be because they can't decide, they get drift, they drift in between. So there's a whole bunch of I think that are like kind of wormholes, and you got track stuff attaching from the
stuff.
Exactly. So like you can like give it a spin, wake. It's like everything. Maybe as you race, it starts getting more unslick the stage and faster, and it starts
like it gets you racing. It's like the track changes, something like that.
Be really cool.
So my question is, I just do to unlock line more than just.
Yeah, that was a big hop. They might do. I don't know. They're not.
No, just like been easier to offline because I feel like trying the game like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So like off soon and like get your opinion. Do we get a game? Every 1 year we do Crash.
Inevitable break, and I think break might be possibly. Crash has been a lot. You got Crash Insane, CTR, Crash on the Run, right? And then Wumpa League comes out 5 games. It's 20 games at us, right? Then fans of Crash are getting tired.
Yeah, I don't want to get burned out the whole one.
Right, exactly. The problem is that there is, I think that we're break. What could happen is they might go through and do League this year, take 20, then 20 Spyro comes along and for CTR, then 2025 Crash 5, right? They could do that. Everybody a break to kind of like everyone calm down. Everybody, you give the Crash fans off. You would give because the break, then the following year Spyro, and then the year CTR. A big break, and then they would get back Crash Con, then start going through again. That 2023, that could be that we Wumpa League, Spyro, and a break CTR. But I think that we an inevitable year. But because and the reason why I say because Crash always releases a year.
Yeah.
Ever release a kid-friendly game. So they fill in that slow break. Maybe this is a break. Maybe they Wumpa League. So that's the game, and it's in a Crash Bandicoot 4. 2021 is and then they bring back Spyro because it's Crash, right? And 20 Crash, right? Then 2020 run developed by King, and like, hey, we also have that's coming up and that is using Bandicoot 4, some short multi, or they might not even release. You know what? Scrap it, and we'll take the rest of the. So yeah, Crash. That's our 2022. I don't know.
True.
It's clearly predictable. Only no, it doesn't. The only these Skylanders could have ways to light. Terrible light. The world's not going to be the same compared to a typical. There's going to be a store. There's going to be a mostly online. And I do think that the Skylanders was that store. They see the new test centers. That's the selling point. And with that, you're going to be losing a little bit. But that vision and they're smart. Make a Skylander just Skylander fans, the nostalgic fans of Spyro, and the way would to maybe some people look at me. I think if they could play Skylander,
if you really think
I would
RPG.
Maybe League of Legends. So you get like a different. They have 4 ability and are the ultimate.
Because I remember there was like certain. It gave it out because you're watching it from you, but if this was like a multi, way better.
Yeah, I think something like that, MOBA would.
A MOBA or
top down, yeah, dungeon crawl MOBA. That need a genre, but not a genre change, and I think that would work, and would also work with the because you with the microtrans, the Skylander,
or you can have the game if you like,
or you can, or really hook people. Crash, but not just that skins where people can get different skins.
Like you can even get Skylander skin if you.
Or you can might be 2 different characters, or they might say, "Hey, you have the choice," and then they can dig into your pocket. We have Aether Spyro that is relevant to Spyro series. Right. We have Crash. We have that, and I think that would be is by simplified more Skylanders characters that do it, introducing new characters. You could always have these new things. I think that's Skylanders would work. You to play through BattleNet, a competitive kid, and then you got the Crash board. It could work.
A break for Crash and Spyro, but. The main are playable in this.
Yeah, and the family-friendly game that every year, and a game that there could be a studio that wants to buy to be in it, and like, okay, keep going. We're seeing them working at Suit Labs right now. Turn around and say like, hey, one of the radical, so many studios they have just doing support. They could say, hey, support on and make money that way.
Do you think that Toys for Bobby like focus for Crash like for the next? Like, I wouldn't think it would make Crash. Do you think it's possible?
I think Beanox is the studio. I think I would say Beanox is the lookout for the next project. Toys for Bob. I definitely think involved, but I do need to throw. It's not going to be Vicarious Visions. Is no longer running for Activision Blizzard, but with Hardsuit Labs, I think that they need a company in there. But I know who. That's my. Don't know
because you already play. Especially they're the ones that are in sports. They did it for TR, so they do also like focus on the others.
So I don't know. There's only so much that they can do. I think Beanox is actually on right now, and they're high 100 roll. Not roles. So if you had roll studio, that's an entire. We might be Beanox turn into like a where they can handle the work. No idea. But what is that? I have a third studio. I don't know who you think that it's going to be mix of Beanox and.
I just want to close on. All
right.
Look something similar to it. Or are you guys going to be like more faithful to the original?
That going to go something in between insane and war. If I think to go more for, but I think what was he might adjustments to different. They might make the pants like the shorts. It would be the jean classic jean shorts, the dark and not the red shoes, but like shoes look to be more. Yeah, so I can see the different skin, different looks. But if Sakurai is going to look, I think it'll look more like Crash Bandicoot 4, but with some adjustment his own.
And what do you think is?
It's gotta be.
I say in warp balls kind of.
Like Insanity Ball, like Warp Express, where you like the Great Wall, like Coco Pura in the back. It switches Insanity and then Cortex Cast. You would have to have.
Wait, if they would add a side, either start off there or like with the Minecraft combination, you could start on it.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I think I'm excited to see what they do. Some really cool Crash that we get some and
I hope it happens. This is I'm your host, PopPunkNerd special guest. Appreciate your time. Like be a part of the show. Glad I got you.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Love to get you on the show today. Maybe we'll stuff. Yeah. This is Canadian. We'll see you on the Pop.
Bye.